And the humility stance of on your knees at an old time altar is worth more words than blabbing all day on Pal Talk or standing in the temple like some stiff necked Pharisee. You know, there's not a person in this room tonight that doesn't remember the day when you used to go to church and they had their altar calls. There's probably not a person in the room tonight that don't remember every night, at least in the Pentecostal churches, 30, 40, 50 people gathered around the old altar. Some of them people would stay there till they got delivered, or they got an answer, or that burden got lifted. And you could always tell the ones that had victory when they walked away from the altar, because they looked a lot different than what they did walking to the altar. And I suggest tonight that we as a people, including me, and when I give a little message in the room, don't think I'm talking to you, because I'm talking to me. But I think we as a people need to get back to a point, a place, to where we can have a special place of contact to meet this one God of Israel. You know? And I think that a lot of times we're messing up. We want to take the altars out of the church. We want to take the pulpits out of the church. Instead of the preacher dressing up in a suit and being someone that not only acts respectable as a representative of God, but looks respectable as a representative of God. We want to dress in our blue jeans and t-shirts and call ourselves a minister behind a pulpit in front of a congregation. Maybe that's tradition, but I kind of like that. Fits good with my song. Give me that old-time religion. Them altar calls were good enough for Grandma. They're good enough for me. How many people in this room ever has gathered around an old altar at a church? How many? Snugs has. White Dove has. Joey has. Minister PH has. Lynette has. Miss Cal has. I have. I know Paints has, because she's an old Pentecostal. I know she knows what grabbing the horns of the altar means. Wouldn't that be nice to go to a church? Wouldn't it be nice to go to a church where people did like they used to, and they actually ran to the altar? How many years has it been since anybody has seen somebody actually get up and run to the altar when that call came forth? If there be any here tonight that you know that if you died right now, you'd spend eternity in hell. How long has it been since you've heard a message where they say, we invite you to make your decision and come to an altar and call upon the one God of Israel? And Stan has their stiff necks on Pal Talk like blind Bartimaeus and some of them people. You might not sit much longer, because if it was up to them, an altar wouldn't even be in a church. And I think they're making a big, big mistake. Big mistake. Maybe somebody's got a testimony about an old-time altar call you want to share? I remember one time we had an altar call. My little girl was just a little girl at that time, 5 or 6. She went up to the altar, and boy, she stayed there and stayed there and stayed there. And we thought, good grief, this is kind of odd for a little 5 or 6, 7-year-old girl to stay up there that long. Better go check on her. Went up there, she was asleep. She went to the altar to pray and ended up going to sleep. But you know what? When you look at that, oh, it's odd, it's cute, and all that, but when you look at it, isn't that where people need to find a rest sometimes in a church? Isn't an altar a good place to find rest? See, God sometimes uses the babes. What is that verse? Don't you know that it's through the mouths of babes that perfect praise? Where is that verse? Something about, don't you know that it's through the mouths of babes that brings perfect praise? So sometimes grown-ups can learn the lessons by little kids. When you go to that old-time altar burdened down, your needs are met, you find rest there. Sometimes, if you're like a little kid, you might just go to sleep.